Hello, second graders. Welcome to a new social study lesson. Please get your Exploring Who We Are book and let's start. Today, we're going to start with a new chapter, chapter 1, Today and Long Ago. In this chapter, you will investigate how things change over time and how they stay the same. You're going to have an interview with an adult and you're going to create a timeline for local community. You're going to compare past and present. So let's see together first, before we start the book, the vocabulary we're going to learn this lesson. We have history. History is the story of what happened in the past. And then we have present. It's something happening today or at this time or while we're living. Past, it's something happened before. Artifacts, objects from the past that were made by humans. We're going to learn all these words, don't worry about them. So artifacts, it's something that you find in museums or you find them on books, that toys children used to use them long ago, or telephone or object that they use it in their daily life. We're also going to learn about culture, and culture is the way a group of people live, which include their type of food, music, and their traditions. We have community. Community is a place where people live together, work, and have fun. So that's called community. We have traditions, which things group of people have done for a long time. So you have tradition, someone else may have something different. We're also going to learn about immigrant, which person who comes from a different country and live in a new country. We also have two words, probably did not hear them before, primary source and secondary source. Primary source is made or used by people during the time that you're studying it. So it could be a diaries, a journal, speech, letters, photographs. Secondary source made by people who did not directly experience and live in this time, but they know about it. So people did not live at that time they're talking about, but they did some study. All right. Let's go back to our book and let's open page 2. So, today and long ago. Why it's important to learn about the past. In this chapter, you will explore life today and long ago. You will find out how people in the past lived. How were their lives different from yours? You'll also interview an adult to make a timeline of your community. So, for example, if I look at this picture, I can tell that this is an old picture because the streets look different. The clothes that people wear different than what we have now. The stores, the buildings. I don't see many transportations. I don't see technology. So I can tell that this is something happened long ago. So we're going to have a little project. I wish you can do it and have fun. You're going to have an interview with an old member in your family or in your community. Of course, if you can do that. So like an uncle or your grandma or your grandpa. And you're going to ask them things. So you're going to put a list and ask, did you have a telephone long ago? Did you know how to use a phone? Did you have a cell phone? So probably they would tell you, yes, we had a cell phone, but it was big size. Or maybe they will say, no, we didn't have a cell phone that time. We had landline phone, which is a phone that connected to the wall and you cannot take it with you. That's an example. For example, we can ask about laptops, how the computer or the laptops you have. They might say, we didn't have laptop at that day. We have big computer, we call it desktop or disk computer, that it was big size. So this is a question you could ask. This page 3, help you giving you an ideas what question you need to ask or how do you interview this member. Of course, the whole idea is to have fun and to learn about how life looks long ago and how it changed nowadays. They might even have pictures in their albums to show you, or they might still have piece of something that they used to have it and we don't have it nowadays. They will show you, they will say, oh, this is the first telephone, I have a picture, or I still have it, I didn't get rid of it, or we didn't have a computer, we have a typewriter and I still have one, I can show it to you. So you might be able to see something, or even you can Google together and they will show you what's a typewriter, for example, look like, that it doesn't exist anymore in our life nowadays, or the computer, how big looked all long ago, and now how small and convenient we have. So that's as a project, you might have fun to interview someone and to compare long ago and life, and you can see in certain object how change happened. This is the activity 4 and 5. We'll do it at the end of the chapter. So these are the words that we're gonna see and learn till the end of the chapter, and you need to write your answer here. So we have artifact, that's what we talked about in the beginning. We have community, we have culture, we have history, we have immigrant, we have past, present, primary source, secondary source, and tradition. So when we cover the chapter, you'll be able to answer these questions. So we're going to keep these 2 pages on the side, and we're going to just use them when we're done with our chapter. So let's turn the page and go for the beginning of our lesson. Lesson 1, how do we learn about history? All right, as we see here, part of the way we learn about history is timeline, which is you trace something like, this is you when first day of school, for example, and this is when the child was just born, was just, few weeks or few months. This is the first pet, so it's like you keeping a record of something that happened before and happening now how changed. That baby, as you see, just cannot do much. All what you do probably smile, but now he's over here probably 3 years or 2 years. He has his first pet, and now 2015 he's in school, and that's when you very first born. So probably he was just maybe a month or so. Also, there's some objects that help you to know how tools and object looks like long ago and how does it look nowadays. So as you see, the objects people saved tell us about the people and the time period they lived in. So these objects from the past are called artifacts. We were talking about the word artifacts, and we say artifacts is objects that people used long ago. So we can learn about person's history. History is what happened in the past, and these are the 2 new words that we will learn today. We know about something happened for people when we look at and read about their history. All right, look at the objects and read the text. What are the objects you see? Circle words you don't know, so words that's new. Underline clues that tell you who did the objects belong to. Why are these objects important, and what the objects tell us about the person. So what do you think? We're talking here about a doctor. As we see, long ago, a doctor used this tool to listen to someone's heart and lungs. So as you see it now, it looks different than this is long ago. And this is a bear, teddy bear from 1907. So this is long ago how the bear looked like. Look at this watch. Someone carried this watch long ago in 1912. It was owned by someone who traveled across the Atlantic Ocean. It looks different from watches we use today. So you can even see that it's a bit rusty and old, and probably it's not working as well. These special clothes nowadays, we don't see them, but these clothes are from a wedding long ago. Maybe if you watch an old movie, black and white, you might see something like that, because that was the fashion that was people wear long ago. All right. So read, how do the word next to the picture help you? This capture in a picture, these words help me to explain and understand what this picture about. So now I know that this is clothes people wear long ago in a wedding. And I know that this is watch that people used long ago. And I know that this is tool what the doctor used long ago to listen to someone's heart or lungs. Okay, draw a box around an artifact that shows what work the person may have done. So that was the doctor tool. Okay. So let's go and turn next page. All right. All right. Explore key details. A key details tell us an important piece of information. That information can help us understand what we are reading and learning. So that's like the main idea where we're talking about. And then we have details that give us more information. So we have a main idea or main topic, and then details explain more and give us more information about the topic we are reading. So, for example, if I ask myself, what's the text about? So I know that tell us story and give us an examples about artifacts, like the stethoscopes or the tuxedo, the clothes that from a wedding long ago, or the pocket watch or the teddy bear. So that previous page, when we went through this one, I can tell that the main idea about this is explaining things that happened or how it looks like long ago. And now we can go for details. All right, so to identify the key details, you need to read text all the way through. So we need to read and look at the picture. We read also that caption that's next to every picture to explain and give us more information. We look at carefully at the picture, we read the text, and we read it again, and then we ask ourselves question. How I did find the information that helped me to understand what's the main idea and give me more information about this idea, which is details. So for example, if we talk about the artifact stethoscope, we know that the details I learned, it was for a doctor to use, right? That's what it says here. So when I go back to page 10, I know stethoscope, then I can write down that it was for a doctor to use. So let's write here. It was for a doctor. All right. I don't have enough space, but I think you will be okay. All right, how about the teddy bear? Teddy bear, of course, it was an old toy. So I can write again here, the teddy bear is a very old toy. All right, how about the watch, the pocket watch? Also the watch, very old, and it's different from watches that people wear nowadays, right? So we can write that's it. Old watch and is different from watches that worn by people today. So I can tell that this is something long ago. Okay, now we have the last thing, tuxedos and gloves, as we saw in a previous picture. So if you go back to the picture, you're going to see that special clothes to be wear for wedding. So that's picture for clothes that men used to wear long ago when they go for a wedding. Okay, so now we have to clear and we go for next page, page 11. All right, read page 12 to 19 in your research companion. Use your investigative skills to look for text evidence that tells you about tools we use to learn about history. This chart will help you to organize your notes. So we have, like, this is a chart that will help us to do, and like we have the item and what did you learn about this item, and then this is will be something that you will be able to answer this question. All right, so let's learn and read about people that we should know about, and then we go for page 12 and 19. All right, people you should know. Helen Keller. Helen Keller was born in 1880. She became deaf and blind when she was a baby. Keller worked hard to learn how to read and write. Her teacher, Anne Sylvian, taught Keller to communicate. As an adult, Keller helped change the way people with disability are treated. Okay, historians studies and write about the past. They learn about different time periods in history. They may teach and do research. They may also work in museums. So these are historians that people learn and do research about things that happened long ago, and they make information for us easy to understand and learn. Marie Curie was born in Poland in 1867. She loved science. She went to Paris, France to study. She worked with her husband, Pierre, and together they discovered two elements. She was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize. And then we have Alexander Graham Bell, very famous, was born in 1847. He started inventing when he was still a child. Bell is most famous for inventing the telephone. He made the first telephone call to his assistant Thomas Watson in 1876. Bell's inventions changed the world. Okay, let's read more about things we need to know. How do we learn about history? Looking at the photographs, Jeff's family has a scrapbook. It tells about his family's history. His grandparents show him pictures. The pictures shows their family and neighborhood from long ago. So that's grandpa and grandma sharing that book with all photos that show the community, show the family, show the neighborhood. All right. Jeff's grandparents moved from Mexico City. They opened a restaurant downtown. They raised Jeff's dad. His dad played baseball at the city park. Jess plays there now. Later, his dad went to college and met Jess's mom. Their wedding picture is in the scrapbook too. And here, this is Jess, and this is the dad and the mom, and that's the picture. All right. Talking about history. As we said, remember, if you can have an interview, that would be awesome. So you can get some information if you have people around. So talking about history is an interview, one of to learn from another person. One person asks question and the other person will respond and give you answer. Maybe they have something to share, like pictures, books, or videos, or the tool or the object you're asking about. Kaira's grandma is visiting from India. Kaira asks her grandma's questions. Kaira. Grandma, what do you know about the history of our family? So that the child asking her grandma. So the grandma said, your mom is the first person in our family to live outside of India. Kyra, what work did your parents do? Grandma, my mother and my father sold spices in our shop. So this is an interview that little child doing with her grandma, asking question and grandma asking, responding or answering. All right. So as you see, this is another way to learn about history. So we watch photographs when Jess was sharing the photograph with his grandparents, or an interview when Kyra had an interview with her grandma. Another way to learn about history is visiting a museum. A museum is a place that keeps artifacts or items from the past. Some items may be from long ago. Some items may be from not very long ago. But what can you learn about it? That how does it look like life long ago? So visit a museum, help you to learn about the past. For example, if you look at this picture, this is long ago, people used this cradle for babies. This is to rock the babies. Nowadays, we have different beds, different cradles. Some of them are automatic or with remote control or just a button to push on and off and it works automatic. But this one was manual, was handy that someone has to rock it. For example, long ago, people used this telephone to talk with family and friends. As you see, this phone will be hanged on a wall. But now we have a telephone or a cell phone that we will move around, we'll be in a car, we'll be in a different city, and we're still talking to people and using their phone. Did you know historic sites bring history to life? Workers and volunteers show visitors life in the past. They wear historical clothes and they also do jobs and chores from the past. Visitors can tour old buildings. They can ask the workers and volunteers questions about the past. There might be a historic site near you. So for example, since we're here in San Diego, we have the Old City or Old Town. And when you go in Old Town, you're going to see some buildings, and sometimes they have a traditional dance or music or a parade that show you how people do in where long ago. And also you'll be seeing like school, old school, there was just one room, or you'll see a court, how the court been used, or the houses, how the houses for people long ago look like. All right, so this is another way of learning about history, visiting museum. All right, history sources. We use sources to learn about history. Remember, we have two sources, primary sources and secondary source. Primary sources are actual things that people made or used in the past. A photograph, a story told in the past, a letter, and a speech are also primary source. Some people don't experience events, but they write about them. So the primary, it's the first source. So this is from people that objects and stuff people did long ago, and you will be seeing the actual typewriter or the actual phone or the actual book that that specific person wrote or made. But the secondary source, it's created by people. It's like an encyclopedia is a secondary source. A book written today about something that happened long ago. That's what we call a secondary source. Okay, this postcard was written long ago. So this is a primary source because this is the original. This is a real postcard that was written with people, with certain person long ago. Glasses someone wore long ago. So this is an eyeglasses for someone that did wear this long ago. Indian head penny from the late 1800s. So it's something long ago that it was there. And you might find this in museums as well. A photo was taken long ago for a wedding. So these people really lived long ago in 1897, and that was their picture of their wedding. So this is all primary source. All right, let's go back to our book and Try to answer page 11. Now we have the items and we have what we learn. Photograph, you can learn what things look like because you have a picture of something, so you know that, yeah, now I know how the phone looked like long ago, or what people wear when they go for a wedding. All right. Interview, that when you learn about something happened in the past from someone who remembers it. So like a grandpa or grandma, an aunt, a neighbor. So a person will teach you or tell you information about something that happened long ago. Maybe he lived this time, or maybe he remembered when it happened. Museum, you learn about the past from the artifacts in a museum, such as, tools that people used, or clothes that they wear long ago, or houses, how their houses looks like, or part of object that they used long ago. And we also learn about primary and secondary source. Primary, it's you can learn about history by studying things that people made or used, or sometimes they even wrote. And you can also see original things like the previous page when we learn about or see a real primary source, the things people, a postcard that was written long ago, or an eyeglasses that someone wore long ago. So this is the primary and secondary source. So photograph, as you see a photograph, you learn about things happened. Interview, you're learning from a person that something happened in the past, and maybe he was part of this or just remember what happened. Museum, that's when you go find an artifact. Or primary and secondary source, when you see a real object that people kept, or you see it in a picture, or you see people tell you about it. So let's see how we can put our answer here. So we have our example for interview. That little girl, Kyra, interviewed her grandma. So we learn about, when you do an interview with someone, learn about the past from someone. Who remember what happened. Oh, we don't have space. So remember, and try to make it fit in our box. Okay. Museum, it's a place where you see and learn about artifacts. So let's see, I can write it here. So you learn about the past from the artifacts that you can see in museum. Okay, primary and secondary source. Again, you learn about the past by studying things that people made long ago, or used, or wore, about certain and different events. Okay. If you need more time, you can always pause the video, take your time to write the answer. Okay, let's go for next page. Okay. Now, we did the investigation, we put all the information we're looking for, and now we need to think about and we need to answer these questions. All right, page 12. Think about, review your research. Based on the information you have gathered, how do we learn about the past? Write about it. Define means tell the meaning of history. We said history, that's what happened in the past. So let's write down. History is what happened. Okay, so this is history. All right, write and cite evidence. What tools do people use to learn about the past? Describe one tool. Use details from the text in your answer. So we need to select one tool that people learn about history, about things happened long ago. So we can talk about museum and you say what people learn about museum, or you can talk about interview. So you interview someone and they give you information, or about picture, or about primary source or secondary source. So choose the evidence that how people learn about the past and just put some information. If you go back to the video, we'll learn and we talked about all of it. All right, let's go for page 13. Write directions. Okay, help another history detective. Choose a tool. Write 3 steps for how to use that tool to learn about history. So you can choose one of the tool that we learned that you learn about history. So for example, if we go over here, we learn about history. So you can say, for example, artifact, and you can give an example, or photograph, and you say that, you know, you learn what things happen and look like long ago. And you can even choose an item like telephone, like in the previous pictures when we saw telephone, or streets, or clothes. People wear different clothes, or even toys, as you see the teddy bears now and what kids used to use and play long ago. All right. So that was lesson 1 for our chapter today, learning about now and long ago, today and long ago, and how things are different, and how we learn how to know things was different using history. And we know history that something happened long ago. We learn about artifacts, and we learn these objects help us to know how people lived their life long ago. Okay, second graders, that was it for our first lesson. Thank you.